everyone's taking, and I'm not saying everyone, like the Detroit fans, don't have points of contention against these guys, but I think this is the consensus. Quarterbacks in the NFL right now who are doing it at the highest level. Joe Burrow, pocket passer, right, but has had constant success. But the team necessarily hasn't. So, would you want a quarterback like that, or would you want a Jared Goff, a winner, right? Like that has constantly put a winning team out on the field for the last couple of years. Um, we got with Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, uh,
Jalen
Hurts,
Hurts. Yep.
Jalen Hurts, Lamar. Lamar's shown that he could put up stats, but last year was an anomaly, right? His touchdown passes were way up compared to his previous couple years, and so um, those five really come to mind. Then you get into, okay, would you rather have an old Matthew Stafford or a young Jared Goff? Right? Those some of those intangible qualities can be argued. Um, Baker is having a resurgence, but he's essentially Jared Goff to me in a different form, right? He's got that strong arm and stuff, but still the same type of situation. You got young guys like CJ Stroud and all these dudes who haven't proven it consistently year after year and have had ups and downs. I mean, I'm not taking any rookies into account because we don't know what they are. You talk about Jaden Daniels, great first season, but now that teams have film on him and know what his strengths are, is he going to be able to continue that trajectory, or is he going to regress a little? We'll see. So I think that's it for me. Jared Goff is able to play the quarterback position, as well as you can ask, and I think, like I said before, I just want a winner. I just want somebody who can lead and win and execute. If I'm an offensive coordinator, which I've been, not at the college level, but at the high school level, the relationship between that coordinator and your quarterback, it's one of the most important relationships on the entire team, because that guy has to be an extension of you on the field. If he's not seeing the game the same way I am, right, as a coach, then we are not going to be successful as a team. And then it goes to the receivers as well. Like there is an unspoken communication that happens mid play, right? That quarterbacks and receivers have to be seeing the game the same way. And I think we've seen that Jared Goff and Amon-Ra and Jameson Williams and these guys who have built that chemistry over time have that communication, capability, and it's only going to continue to develop. And then you bring guys in like Tesla and your favorite from minicamp, right? Love it. These dudes are going to fit in fast and realize, like, this is what we do here. And Jared Goff is a great leader, and like I'm going to just fill in the role and do what I can to help the team. And so, yeah, I how do you guys feel about my take? Am I going to get hazed, or are people going to agree with me about what I feel about Jared Goff?
I think you've largely described Jared Goff, and there's nothing wrong with doing that.
I hope so.
Look, every quarterback has their pluses and minuses. Fair comment, right? Fair statement. Everyone has things that they don't do well. Matthew Stafford, seeing some of the comments saying, I'd rather have a prime Stafford back inside this culture. That's a fair statement. I would too, because of what he was when he was at his prime, with his arm strength, his ability to move. But maybe let's think about it this way. He was throwing the ball to one guy the majority of the time, right? Jared Goff is spreading the ball out to 10 guys. Like, legit, look at some of the game, stats where he's put the ball in 10 guys' hands through the air. Stafford is dotting Kelvin all day, and then maybe Golden Tate a little bit.
Yeah.
So I think there's a big difference between the scheme, right, the culture, and what they're able to do. Maybe the scheme doesn't fit Matthew Stafford. I don't think that there's the same offense in LA right now that Jared Goff had. That offense is designed around what Matthew Stafford does well. And I think that's the point that us fans, you fans, need to understand from a football schematic standpoint. You don't fit every scheme. You couldn't put Jared Goff behind, the Eagles' offensive line and run the same plays. Now, could he probably run 75% of them? Absolutely. But it might be those 25% of the plays that Jalen Hurts is the guy that's making that play work, and the connection that he has, with that team. Jared Goff lives inside this scheme, he does well, and I kind of get sick of the comments that say, he's just a scheme driven or a system quarterback. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, if you do well at something, that's like saying, well, you're just an engineer. Well, yeah, I'm really good at being an engineer. What makes me a bad person because I'm really good at my job? I'm really good as a system quarterback. I'm really good as an off-structure quarterback. There's different personalities. That doesn't matter. Schematically, you've got to fit it. And to your point, I think you were mentioning you have to be dialed in with your coach. You have to be dialed in with the coordinator. If you're not dialed in and seeing the field, the same way that they are, you can forget about it, because if the players in the quarterback, right, if the entire team is not on the same page, it's not going to work. And you might be the best quarterback in the world. You might do everything perfect. But if you're not seeing it the same way that those players are, if you're not seeing it and connected to a level that your running backs and your receivers are, if you're not understanding how your offensive line shifts when there's pressure coming from the left, or if you're getting pressure on both sides and what your offensive line normally does, if you don't understand that, you're going to go down. You're going to fumble the ball. You're going to throw an interception. See, Jared gets it. He knows. He will hang in that pocket and get drilled and get right back up, or he'll hang in that pocket and deliver the ball. And to your other point, man, you threw up a hot one with the J-Mo thing, because very early off in his career with J-Mo, everyone is saying Jared Goff's got a noodle arm. He can't get the ball out to J-Mo. Look at J-Mo's outrunning him. No. Let me get your take on this. Sorry, Riley, I'm not trying to ignore you, but I just want to continue with this for a second. J-Mo and Jared Goff had to do what for that relationship to be what it was last year?